Good morning, everybody. We got a good show for you today. I'm really excited, really pumped up. We're going to talk about Joe Biden. We're going to talk about Trump attacking the Judge Merchan's daughter. We're going to talk about Jessica Tarloff is getting sued. Fox News is getting sued again, folks. We're going to talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene and this craziness that the corporate media has rediscovered. So fill your cups. I just filled mine. I hope your coffee is as good as mine. It is going to be a good one. Let's get into it, folks. Good morning, everybody. We're going to jump in right now with the Biden fundraiser. That was a huge deal. But before we do, and stick with me, folks, okay? Please, stick with me. This will be really fast. Accuracy is important. One of the most, that is what is making us so damn successful is, I kick the Republicans in the teeth, but I do it factually. Fact check me. I tell people all the time, and that's why I love you folks, because you're usually running ahead of me in these conversations about facts. The other day I did a show, I was talking about Middle Eastern politics and where things were going, what we're going to be looking at over the next 10 years. And please stick with me. Hit the thumbs up button. I want to do this correction. We're going to do a quick correction. I was talking about Turkey and its modernization of its military, and I inverted a fact. When I said it, I was talking about the modernization of their air force. Turkey was kicked out of what I said was that they were buying F-35s and they were selling out their old F-16s. Actually, that's 100% opposite of what I was meaning to say. It just happens. As many facts as I put out, sometimes I'm going to screw one up, but I never leave it out there, folks. I never leave it out there. I always tell you the way things are. Turkey was kicked out. What was in my mind, Turkey was kicked out of the F-35, the Joint Fighter Program. They were kicked out of the Joint Fighter Program because they went to Russia and bought S-400, the S-400 systems, anti-aircraft systems. The F-35 has advanced recognition systems that say you've got a Patriot battery, and the Patriot does its thing. It's got extremely high-tech radar. There's a communication system with friendly fighters to those Patriot systems. The one on the F-35 is extremely advanced. It can do this without giving itself away. It's an technically incredible fighter. When Turkey decided to go with the Russian S-400 air defense systems, we said you can't have the F-35s. We can't. We're not going to give that technology away. We're not going to give the Russians the ability to recognize F-35s. We're not going to do it. If you're working with the Russians on your air defense, instead of buying from us, we're not going to give the Russians the ability to recognize these F-35s. We're just not going to do it. So we bought back the F-35s, and what we did was we took all their old F-16s, which were several generations old, and the F-16s that are flying today are not your grandfather's F-16s, your father's F-16s from back in the 80s. They are not. They are fully modernized aircraft using those airframes. These are cutting edge Gen 4 fighters. We, as a deal, bought back all the F-35s. There's a parity thing with Greece and Turkey. I'm not going to get into it. That's not what today's show is about. We're selling Greece F-35s. So we're going to take all of Turkey's old F-16s, gut them, modernize them, and then sell them a whole new batch of F-16s. That's the correction, folks. They're not selling off the F-16s. We bought back the F-35s. We're modernizing their fleet of F-16s. Anyways, I just wanted to get that out there because accuracy is important. It is important. Speaking of which, we had a big deal last night. Joe Biden has just been killing it in fundraising. He has. They've got $130 million cash on hand versus Trump's $40 million in cash on hand. Trump's supposed to be the big, super, mega rich guy with all the billionaire friends. They apparently don't like him very much. But they had a massive fundraiser last night in New York for Joe Biden, hauled in $26 million in one sitting. It was really cool show. Mindy Kaling, the comedian and / actress, Mindy Kaling was the MC. From what I understand, there is no press of it. It was a private event. She did an amazing job, from what I understand. Extremely funny. There were performances by Lizzo. Lizzo put on a performance. It's not like they had Ted Nugent there, some D-list nobody. Lizzo was there and performed. You had Cynthia Erivo being the British actress that's just catapulted into international stardom. The huge hit, the remake of The Color Purple that they just did, that just went massive worldwide. She was the star of that. She's a singer / actress. Cynthia Erivo performed, and Queen Latifah was there as well. So it was a star-studded night, but the big marquee event that everybody is talking about, that they're saying was just off the hook fantastic, was the panel. You had Joe Biden, Barack Obama, and Bill Clinton all answering questions from that were posed by the audience, put to them by Stephen Colbert. And from what I understand, it went really fantastic. Really fantastic. Of course, every time there's a Democratic event, you get these Republican right-wing, Russia paid for Gaza agitators that show up. Barack Obama did an amazing job in fielding that one. Apparently there was 5 or 6 interruptions that they tried to, pretty much pissed off the crowd. The crowd had enough of it by the time Barack Obama stood up to speak, and it handled it really well. It was a great event. It was a great event, hugely, massively successful. I mean, $26 million in one evening. That is huge, folks. That is huge. Compare that with what we've got going on in Trump land. Trump went after Judge Merchan's daughter again. And this has happened enough that I think we're really going to have to talk about this. We're going to have to talk about it. But before we get into this, I want to frame this by talking about another story that we're going to get into today. And that's the Marjorie Taylor Greene nonsense. This is just getting out of hand. It is. It's getting out of hand. We're going to have to really put an end to this, but to really effectively go after it, we've got to understand it. As you know, Marjorie Taylor Greene filed to remove Speaker Johnson from, she put in the motion. That doesn't mean that it immediately goes, he's removed as speaker. No, they've got to hold a vote to determine whether or not that they're going to remove him or not. They've got to, this isn't a done deal. And I've been telling you folks that she really screwed the pooch on this one. She really did. She doesn't have the support. She doesn't have the votes. But that doesn't mean that it's gonna die. They're gonna use this. They're gonna use this to radicalize what the Republicans are doing. Because remember, this all happened because Mike Johnson dared to work with Democrats to get the government funded. Just keep the lights on. Just keep the lights on. And let them explain this to you. This is Chip Roy talking about what's going on with Mike Johnson and Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Republican leadership refuses to use leverage to fight for those things. Look, you understand deal making. Former President Trump understands deal making. You can't get everything you want. None of us would say you can. But dadgummit, we should get at least something significant in the fight. We should use our leverage. And Mike Johnson blew it when he walked away from a continuing resolution that we could have extended through this year to trigger the caps that we had put in place last year, and we would have forced Democrats to the table and then leverage this. The other thing he could have done, pass a CR today that kicks this into May, trigger Thomas Massey's 1% provision, then you force Democrats to the table and say, guys, we're not going to do any of this unless we actually secure the border. But now we're getting yet another promise. Trust me, Chip, we'll secure the border when we do a supplemental on Ukraine funding. Look, most of your audience doesn't want another dollar to go to Ukraine at all.
And Republicans don't want to vote on any funding for the border because they want to pretend it's a crisis that's ongoing. To understand that this didn't start today. This isn't something that just popped up. This has been decades in the making. And to understand how we got where we are today and what is really going on with Mike Johnson, you've really got to look at the whole picture. This actually started back in the day with this guy. This is, Newt Gingrich. Before Newt Gingrich came along, he was Speaker of the House. Before he came along, he was the majority leader for the Republicans and then Speaker of the House back in the 80s. The way things got done is Republicans and Democrats would sit down and say, okay, this is my agenda, folks. This is what I want to get done. This is my agenda. And the Democrats would say, okay, this is our agenda. And then they would just hash it out. They would say, okay, for example, Republicans wanted to fund that idiotic SDI, Star Wars program. Because Ronald Reagan was claiming credit for every defense initiative. He was the military guy, even though everything he took credit for came out of the Nixon administration or the Carter administration. Ronald Reagan claimed credit for all of it. The Los Angeles class submarines, the development of the F-16 fighters, the F-15s, all of it. Reagan claimed credit for all of it. None of it came out of his administration. What did come out of his administration was this idiotic SDI program. And Democrats knew it was idiotic. Every scientist out there said, that's not going to work. You can have, for instance, like I was going there, Ronnie Reagan. Exactly. You can have cover. You can have a laser-based, missile-based protection system over a small area. Think about the Israeli Iron Dome system. They're not protecting massive areas the size of the United States. This whole SDI program was idiotic. Ronald Reagan sold to the American people, if you just give me unlimited funding, I'm going to create a missile defense system that's going to protect all of America. And we all knew it was idiotic. We all knew it was stupid. Everybody on the Democratic side knew it wasn't going to fund, but they wanted that. Republicans wanted that because of the narrative. They wanted to be the defense party. They wanted to be the party that was protecting America. So they made deals. And Democrats agreed, and it wasn't even the same bills, folks, like it happens today. They would actually make handshake deals and say, okay, you're going to propose a bill on, school funding or a special program for whatever the Democrats wanted at the time. And we want this SDI funding. It wouldn't even be the same bill. Their word was good enough that they would actually support each other's bills. That used to happen. Then along came Newt Gingrich. And Newt Gingrich engaged in, we call it politics of personal destruction. The whole point is to make your opponent an unacceptable option. And it started an era of what I call Republican supremacy. Like white supremacy. It's Republican supremacy. You can't talk about Democrats as though they are traitors. They would call us traitors. They would call us every name in the book. And for about 2 decades, we Democrats did nothing about it. I mean, Newt Gingrich couldn't make deals with Democrats while at the same time making these horrific allegations about us, about how unacceptable we were. That narrative doesn't fly. So they stopped working together. And we Democrats blew it. We blew it. They're like, you're a commie, you're a traitor. And we Democrats would say, but let me tell you about my policies and how good my policies are. That doesn't work, folks. And thank God we're not doing that anymore. Not as much anyways. I think we could be a lot more militant, and we need to be. But that's how the ball got rolling. Is you had Newt Gingrich and his policy of personal destruction and you can't do deals with Democrats because the Democrats are bad. And the reason he did that was Republicans had things they wanted to push through that no one would accept. But if you could start these culture wars, give them a shiny object. And this is when Ralph Reed and those guys went into the churches. This is when this first started. They went into the churches and started making your churches political, because before Newt Gingrich and Ralph Reed and those guys came along, your churches were concerned about caring for people. They were concerned about feeding people. They were concerned about the homeless. They were concerned about the things that Jesus used to talk about. Newt Gingrich and the Republicans inserted Republican Jesus into the churches, and then you've got the wealth doctrine, and God wants you to be rich, and if you just pray enough and tithe enough, you'll be rich, and it's okay to hate poor people, and the dehumanization of people. That all came out of this area. That came out of this area. What came next was a further radicalization. This guy followed Newt Gingrich. This is Denny Hastert. Denny Hastert is a serial child rapist, and he was the Republican Speaker of the House from 1999 to 2007. He went to prison in 2016 for being a child molester. This guy codified into congressional rules the things that Newt Gingrich said. This is who brings us what's known as the Hastert rule that Republicans have been operating under until recently. The Hastert rule is the codification of Republican supremacy. They say no bill hits the floor that the majority of Republicans don't support. So much for the era of I'll support your bill even though I don't agree with it, and then I'll support your bill even though I don't agree with it. Every bill that hits the floor must be a Republican agenda. That is the Hastert rule. And the Republicans operated under that, still do to technically to this day. They attack us. They engage in culture wars. And then they codify things like, we cannot make deals. And that is what brings you people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Chip Roy, who just openly tells you, we're going to file this motion to remove, although they're not going to act on it, folks. They aren't. They don't have the votes to remove him, but they do have the votes to radicalize Preacher Johnson. See, they're going to lord this over his head. And they're going to demand that he be more radical and more radical and more radical. Or if they don't get what they want, they're going to agree to remove him. That's what this is all about, folks. It's not about actually removing Preacher Johnson. Cindy Brown says, look at what's happening at Tennessee State, the removal of the entire board of trustees by Republicans. Yeah, it is government by Republican supremacy. They do not believe in democracy anymore. Just listen to what Marjorie Taylor Greene says was her reasoning behind acting the way she did and doing the things that she said.
Mike Johnson fully funded the FBI and the Department of Justice that is weaponized against Donald Trump. And now he's going to go after FISA funding and renewal. And I guarantee you that'll be as clean and as simple as can be. And the FBI spied on hundreds of thousands of Americans. So you're going to see what you're going to see is the attacks are going to increase on MTG. The attacks will increase on me, while the deep state is going to do everything they can to protect Mike Johnson because he is the best Speaker of the House they could ever ask for.
Her and Chip Roy are saying the quiet part out loud. She did this because Mike Johnson didn't hobble the FBI. That he just funded the government and allowed our institutions to operate. Think about the 2025 project, folks. Think about what. Let's watch a little bit more about what she says here, and then we'll talk about it.
The majority, not Marjorie Taylor Greene holding Speaker Mike Johnson accountable and saying that we need new leadership, everyone. We need a Speaker of the House that actually acts like a Republican. We need a Speaker of the House that doesn't fund the open border invasion. We need a Speaker of the House that doesn't fund full-term abortion clinics. We need a Speaker of the House that doesn't fund the trans agenda on children in our country. These are not extreme statements that I'm making. These are statements that the American.
Now, she really believes that what she's saying here isn't extremism. Folks, they're morphing from the Hastert rule to fascism. Are you hearing what she's saying, what Chip Roy is saying? They're not going to make deals. They're not going to work through any kind of democratic system. You're going to do the most radical things. You're going to hobble the FBI. You're going to gut the DOJ. You're going to do all of these horrific things that they're saying they want to do in the 2025 project, or we will remove you. You are not Republican enough. They're telling you right now to your face. This isn't in support of an ideology. This isn't in support of an agenda. This is fascism. Directly in your face. And it's working. It is working. You've got Republicans. Mike Johnson, she cracked the whip, and Mike Johnson immediately has jumped on. They're going to pass, send the articles of impeachment over Secretary Mayorkas. You've got the Secretary of Homeland Security, folks. Homeland Security that is now going to have to deal with this nonsense. I appreciate the support there. I really do. Thank you very much. You pay for the subscriptions and everything that I do to run the show. I appreciate it. And just to show you, I get so mad at our media. They're running with, oh man, this could blow up in Marjorie Taylor Greene's face. This could, and it's all clickbait. It's all clickbait. This could give us Speaker Hakeem Jeffries. Folks, we're going to have Speaker Hakeem Jeffries after the election. Nothing that is happening here now is going to lead to a Speaker Jeffries. It's just not. I've explained this in the past. I'll explain it again. For there to be a Speaker Jeffries, you would have to get Republicans that would have to swap parties. That's suicide, especially for Republicans. Everyone that does it loses their job. And right now, Republicans don't have to go out and fundraise like Democrats do. They've got their institutions lined up to just dole out money. Democrats have to sit and call people, hey, send me money. Hey, send me money. Republicans don't have to do that. It just shows up along with a note saying, vote for this and do what we want here. And Republicans aren't going to give that up and swap parties. It's just not going to happen, folks. It's just not going to happen. Thank you for the support, Lucky Star. Obnoxious Atheist says, please impeach Marjorie Taylor Greene. No kidding, right? We're stuck with her. We're stuck with her. And to give you some idea of how much theater all of this is, this new push to impeach, Mike Johnson appointed Marjorie Taylor Greene as one of the impeachment managers. Folks, this is the most radical part of the Republican Party, giving cover to Mike Johnson to push his most radical off-the-hook agenda that no one supports, to attack in vitro fertilization, to attack birth control, to attack our institutions. You don't have to make deals, because if you make a deal, they'll kick you out of office. So we Democrats need to save you. That's the nonsense I'm hearing now. Democrats would need to save you. If we get Ukraine funding, then we'll just go ahead and save him. Folks, no. Do not bring a bundt cake to a knife fight. Don't do it. And that's why I said, we've gotten better since the 80s and the 90s about being in these fights. You've got really great people like Jasmine Crockett. You've got Jared Moskowitz. You've got just folks that are just out there just nailing it, that are swinging and fighting. Matthew Preble, thank you for the support, man. That are doing a great job, that are really taking the fight to Republicans on all of these issues. Yeah, Frost. Raskin, you've seen them all. Yeah, they're doing a great job of fighting back. They really are. They've gotten good at it. But they need to be more mercenary about their politics, because that's what you're dealing with. You have to fight on the field that the fight is on. You know, we wasted so many years thinking that one day, once Newt Gingrich is gone or Denny Hastert's gone, that we'll return to, no, we're not going to return to the good old days where a handshake gets things done. You know, look at John Boehner. I mean, they ran him out of town on a rail, man, because he tried to go back to that nonsense. And he couldn't do it. The Republicans are just too radical. This is who Marjorie Taylor Greene is. Never forget, this is who we're dealing with.
If we have a sea of people, if we shut down the streets, if we shut down everything, if we flood the Capitol building, flood all the government buildings, go inside. These are public buildings. We own them. We own these buildings. Do you understand that? We own the buildings and we pay all the people that work in the building. Finished with our meetings here at the White House this afternoon. We had a great planning session for our January 6th objection. We aren't going to let this election be stolen by Joe Biden and the Democrats. President Trump won by a landslide. Call your House reps, call your senators from your states. We've got to make sure they're on board, and we already have a lot of people engaged. Okay, stay tuned. Tomorrow, we're prepared to object to the stolen electoral college votes. President Trump was reelected.
Yeah, enough of that. That's who Marjorie Taylor Greene is. And she and Chip Roy and those like her are steering the Republican Party. There's no deal to be had, folks. There just isn't. We have to take them down. We have to. Heidi Acevedo says, Rep Moskowitz, our very own Smurf. I just loved him. Yeah, that was a great joke. That really was. That was a great joke. But that's how we got here. We went from radicalize the churches with Ralph Reed and Newt Gingrich. We went from doing handshake deals where we could pass bills. We went from all of that to make your opponent unacceptable. And then it's radicalized from there. They codified Republican supremacy with the Hastert rule. And they really believe they don't have to engage in any kind of democracy, because you just saw this woman tell you she was not going to accept democracy. They have nothing to say that they were cheated out of the last election. They just got their asses beat. It wasn't rigged. You're just a loser. But she's telling you right there, out of her, in her own words, ignore the election. Just claim you won. Take it. Storm these buildings. Just take it. There's no deal to be had. There's no work to be done with these people. They just have to be defeated. The Republican Party is dead. All that's left is MAGA and these radicals. End them. And there are people on the right that say, oh, you just want one-party rule. You just want fascism. You just want democratic fascism. No. You folks in the comments, do we want one-party rule? Or do we just want the Republicans to finally go away forever so that a real opposition party can spring up, so that our government can function? You've got nobody like these people on the left. There is no version of them on the left. They operate under fascist ideals. And then they call us fascists because we don't want their radicalism. We don't want their agenda. We don't want hate and attacks and all of the crap that, what is the last thing Republicans have ever done? They don't even show up to work anymore. They get paid $174,000 a year. And they passed 27 bills last year. That's all they did. 27 bills. 3 of them were renaming buildings. And they're telling you, they're telling you, there's an entire caucus that is driving the Republican Party that is telling you that they don't want any kind of semblance of normal governance. What they want is to blackmail us into allowing them to gut our institutions. They're telling you what they want. For Russia, gut our ability to spy. That's what getting rid of the FISA courts does. That's what that's all about. Fighting Russian infiltration into our government. Get rid of that. Get rid of the FBI and their ability to fight, the Russian infiltration into our country. We can't be prosecuted for our crimes. We engaged in an insurrection, and we want you to destroy the DOJ and the FBI so they can't prosecute us, so that next time nobody can touch us. We'll just get it done. She's telling you. I'm not telling you. She's telling you. Chip Roy is telling you. They're mad at their speaker because he will not gut the FBI and our institutions to serve Russia and them. And they're not even nervous about saying it. They're saying this to the media. This isn't like somebody overheard them having a conversation, amongst themselves. No, they are saying this to reporters, to us. Hey, I want you to know this is what I'm doing. And this is how crazy it's gotten. Judge Juan Merchan is overseeing Trump's criminal case up in New York, issued a gag order on Trump. And Trump's losing his mind over this. He has never been held to account in his life. And this is just destroying his soul. So he attacks the judge. Actually attacks his daughter. This is the attack, okay? This is how insane all of this has gotten. You remember I was so pissed off about the Fonnie Willis thing because so many of you kept saying, well, it looks bad. It looks bad. You cannot accept that. There is right and there is wrong, and that is it. I don't care about what the Republicans are going to say about it. I don't care. Because that leads us to this. Donald Trump is attacking Judge Merchan's daughter because she's a Democrat. his adult daughter works on Democrat campaigns. So what? You're really going to allow them to have a narrative that being a Democrat somehow disqualifies you? No. No. In fact, it's just the opposite. Like our friend Goebbels there said, accuse your enemy of that which you are guilty. Republicans have for decades not been, you can't rely on. Look at what Robert Hur did. Look what Bill Barr did. Look at this nonsense and the reason they do it is they've had success with it. The reason they're trying to impeach Secretary Mayorkas is because they've had success with it. Ken Starr. Look what they did with Ken Starr. Look what they did with Benghazi. Benghazi. They've had political success with it. Now they're trying to do it again. They're trying with this nonsense over impeaching Joe Biden. We're going to impeach Secretary Mayorkas. And we Democrats have not figured it out. Yes, let's talk about the border. Let's talk about the fact that Donald Trump brought us Title 42, which was an utter fucking disaster down at our border. And then when we tried to remove it because it was causing a flood of illegal immigration, you sued us to keep it in place. You Republicans sued us to keep this disaster in place. You created chaos. And since we got rid of Title 42, immigration has plummeted. Secretary Mayorkas has been working with Mexico. Illegal immigration has plummeted. Yes, please. Let's talk about the border. Let's talk about the fact that you will not fund anything. We're trying to fix a decrepit, old, broken system, but you won't let us. You use these parliamentary tactics to stop us from doing the right thing. Yes, please. Let's talk about the border. Let's talk about every damn issue. Republicans are insane. Yes, let's talk about the fact that you want to gut our institutions, and you're publicly saying you want to gut these institutions because they're investigating you for your crimes. And then now you've got a Republican that is going through a trial that is saying, oh, the judge has to be removed because his daughter is a Democrat. Let me ask you something, folks. I'm a Democrat. I founded the Ride or Die Democrats. Let me see the hearts and skulls. Let me see my Ride or Die Democrats out there. You want to question my Democratic bona fides? My adult son is a Trumper. He is a radical Trumper. His social media is flooded with Trump stuff. Do you think that disqualifies me from anything? Does it? Hell no. I am who I am. And you're going to sit there and you're going to tell me that Juan Merchan, who's built an entire career out of being a judge, as a judge, has built an entire career out of his integrity, his skill, his understanding of the law. You're going to tell me, oh, you're going to disqualify him because his adult daughter dares to be a Democrat? Fuck you. I ain't playing that game. That's Goebbels nonsense. That is taking people like Ken Starr, Robert Hur, and these Republican freaks that have played politics with our Department of Justice forever and need to be removed. Christopher Wray needs to be removed. No Republican has showed ethics or character enough to be a special counsel, to be the head of the FBI. Those all need to be replaced with Democrats. So what do Republicans do? That Goebbels nonsense. Accuse us of that which they are guilty. I will say it again. Fuck you. And that's what I would love to see one of these Democrats do. And actually, no, don't do that. Don't do that, because that can get you kicked out of Congress. Don't do that. And Republicans absolutely would try to get you kicked out of Congress. Thanks for the support, Katie. I really appreciate it. $50 is a lot of money, man. I know it. And I really appreciate it. I put it to good use. Yeah. The Republicans have lost their mind. You know, we have so many opportunities as Democrats. There's one that just got presented to us yesterday. You're going to love this one. Y'all know who Jessica Tarloff is? Y'all may not know who she is. She's on Fox News. She is a liberal. She is a liberal, and she's on Fox News. Jessica Tarloff is on a show called The Five. Fox didn't know what they were getting when they put her in this job. They really did not know what they were getting. She is smart as hell. She is. And she tears that panel up. They parrot the stupidest crap. And she says, well, let me tell you what you don't know. So they had a show where they were talking about these ridiculous impeachment hearings where Republicans just got humiliated. Their witnesses just got destroyed. They had a witness that was in jail. He was testifying from jail. And the other one is this guy named Bobulinski. Bobulinski. I say it that way because Kim.com. I got invited to one of these stupid X-Chan spaces. I never go to them anymore. They were just an incredible waste of time. But Kim.com is always in these guy by the name Kim. If you don't know who he is, you just look it up, Google him. He's not American, but all he does is talk about American politics, and he calls Tony Bobulinski. Tony Bobulinski is going to end the Democrats. You watch Tony Bobulinski. It's freaking hilarious to try to hear this foreign freak. And I can say that when you Google him, you'll understand why I can say that. Talk about Tony Bobulinski. Turns out Tony Bobulinski's nobody. He worked with Hunter Biden and several of his partners for about this long. He made a bunch of promises about funding that he could secure and all kinds of crap. And all he wanted to do was trade on the Biden name. So they fired him immediately. They cut him out. They fired him immediately. So he is singing this story to Republicans about how Joe Biden was taking bribes when he wasn't in office. Wasn't serving anywhere. Nobody can show where he ever got paid for anything. Everybody has testified openly, no, Joe Biden never got paid for anything. But Tony Bobulinski says, I overheard a conversation and I have an email where I personally suggested paying Joe Biden, and nobody responded to that email, and it was completely trash, and they fired me for saying it. But yeah, that's totally the truth. Well, Jessica Tarloff pointed out the fact that she said on the show when they were talking about Bobulinski, they're like, look, Trump's campaign pays his attorneys, is what she said. So Bobulinski is suing her for saying this. Let me give you this the difference without a distinction here. This is going to be great. I love this. They keep stepping on rakes. And if we would just pick the rakes up and start beating them with the handles, it would be great, politically speaking, metaphorically, of course. It would be great. Because what Bobulinski did, he filed a suit claiming, this is what he says. Well, the Trump campaign, thanks for the support, Barbara. I appreciate you. The Trump campaign pays the law firm that my lawyers are from, but they don't pay my lawyers. Folks, I've been paid that way before. I'm a consultant. I've worked jobs before. I've been paid that way before. I've got a job over here that I really need you to do this, Paul, but I can't add to the budget. So let me just fluff this budget over here and we'll pay you over here for you to what you're going to do over there. It just happens. It happens. It really does. And that's what Jessica Tarloff was saying. Look, the Trump campaign pays these attorneys. So they're going to sue her. They are suing her and Fox, mind you, claiming, oh no, yes, the law firm is paid by Trump, but they're not paying my attorneys. So I'm going to sue you because that's defamation. Thank you. Thank you. Because now I get to send you interrogatories and ask you under oath, who's been paying you? That law firm now has to disclose who's paying you. And I am all here for that. That's why this lawsuit's going to vanish. They're going to withdraw it immediately. They are. It was a tactical error on their part. Someone smarter than them is going to say, "Don't do this." Thanks for the support. Wilbro says, "Keep fighting the good fight, sir." Thank you. I appreciate that. I will. I am going to be here. We're going to duke this out. But Bobulinski's lawsuit is going away. It is. It was for a soundbite so he could, get everybody on X-Chan and the right wing to say, oh, they're lying about me. Trump's campaign isn't really paying me. That's what that's about. And as soon as they have to start answering interrogatories and they have to start doing depositions, this is going to vanish. This is absolutely going to vanish because it totally wrecks their attorney-client privilege. But yeah, I mean, that's the way it's going for us, folks. Just compare those things. You got Biden out there with two former presidents endorsed by everybody he's ever worked with, talking about good policies, moving forward, winning, actually getting the support of the American people and winning versus that vile twat Donald Trump attacking a judge's daughter for daring to have a job as a Democrat. No more, people. No more. No more. Not going to happen. We are going on the offensive. Rosebud says, I have to go. Hope to see you tonight at 9 p.m. I'm going to be on Brando's show tonight, by the way. Thanks for reminding me, Rosebud, to say something. I'll be on Brando's show tonight. Catch it if you can. It should be a lot of fun. I love talking to Brando. You're welcome, Kit. I appreciate you. I appreciate your support. Thank you. But that's what I'm leaving you with, folks. We're doing good work. We're doing good things for the American people. We're doing things like, eliminating school loans. We're educating people. We're working to get things done for the American people. We're working to stop a land war from spreading all over Europe. We're working to just do the right thing for people and keep up the good work. Because on the other side, this is the kind of thing I'm going on the attack. I am 100% going on the attack. I am not going to play defense. I don't play defense. This is Vermont State Trooper Todd Chisholm. Will serve only 30 days in jail after admitting that he raped his girlfriend's 11-year-old daughter. I guarantee you Todd Chisholm is a Republican. He's a middle-aged white male cop that guarantees with 90% assurity that he's a Republican and MAGA, and that's who they are, folks. They're fucking pedophiles. Lorraine Bell, thanks for the support. I appreciate you. And because of their buddy-buddy systems, like you saw with Ken Paxton, who's going to get deferred adjudication on his criminality, this guy's going to spend 30 days in jail. 30 days in jail for raping an 11-year-old girl. That's who Republicans are. That's who they are. There's going to be no more of this. Let me tell you about my policies. Let me tell you what a piece of shit Republicans are. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. Jim Jordan turned the other way when a doctor was raping his students at the University of Ohio. That's who these people are. Denny Hastert, the guy that invented the Hastert rule, was a damn serial child rapist. That's who these people are. Bike Shop Guru says, buy a Trump rake today, get a free Bible. Yeah. You got a guy that's a billionaire, hawking Bibles. Billionaires don't sell Bibles, folks. Billionaires donate Bibles. And again, I will re-stress to you. You've got people that are really stressing over this whole Digital World Acquisition Corp purchase of Truth Social, and it's going to make Trump an overnight billionaire. And no, it's not. No, it's not. It's going to make some short sellers really freaking rich, is what it's going to do. It's going to make some short sellers really, really, really freaking rich. You've got a company that has never made a profit, generates $4 million a year in revenue, that has 188 million shares of outstanding stock. You do the math on that. No. And Trump's going to jail. Trump is going to jail. But folks, I need you to get in this fight. Don't just enjoy the show. Don't just listen to what I have to say. I need you putting these messages out. Just simple thing, hit the thumbs up button and Google will do the rest. Hit the thumbs up button and Google will do the rest. They'll present this to other people that need to hear it. So, folks, that's what I've got for you today. We've got a few minutes left. If you'd like to do a roundtable, we can do that. Or if you just, it's Friday. It's Friday. We made it to the weekend. You got a busy Friday, we can just call it here. It's up to you, folks. What do you want to do? Walter Klopp says, me and my family love waking up every Saturday morning, drinking our coffee to watch you Sundays. I don't do a Saturday show. We think everything's bigger in Texas, including our heartfelt. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. I really appreciate you. You can watch this replay tomorrow on Saturday. So yeah, no more. There will be no more. Thanks for the support. I appreciate that. Our European audience weighing in from Denmark. Thank you for the support. I really appreciate you. But yeah, it just... Just look at what we're doing. That's all you have to do. Look at what we're doing. Look at the Democrats. Look at Joe Biden having a great time doing a fundraiser with foreign presidents that people want to listen to, that aren't like nails on a chalkboard when you hear them talk. Heidi Acevedo says, I also share your podcast on my Threads feed. Awesome. Awesome. Get the word out. Steve McLeod asks, how do you think the Biden team will handle Comer's request to testify? What I recommend is that they tell them to fuck off. Don't treat it with any seriousness. Just ignore them. Just ignore them. We have already dunked the ball, dropped the mic, and walked off the court. We won this one. Don't give them any credence. When MAGA get taken, they will blame by always. Everything will be blamed on Biden. Yeah, Bijou Castle. Remember when Republican men admired real men like John Wayne, Paul Newman, or James Caan, or Clint Eastwood? Yeah, I had a lot of differences with most of those guys. So yeah, I'm gonna leave that one out there. Most of them were fictional creations. Oh, and by the way, and they're still working. They're still working up in Baltimore. The port's going to be shut down. And again, I just want to draw comparisons because I love when people look at us and what we're doing. The port's going to be shut down. They've got to remove that bridge out of the way before they can get traffic flowing in and out of the port. And all the people that are employed at that port are going to have one hell of a tough time. Democrats are immediately moving to try to float a bill to supplement these people's paychecks, to keep everybody from going into financial disasters, and to get this damn bridge moved out of the way so we can get back to work. That's what we're doing. Republicans are trying to foment that it was somehow a terrorist attack, and therefore they're really important to have around, when there's nothing that says this was a terrorist attack. They're just nonsensical conspiracy theory games. We're trying to clean up the mess and make sure people are okay. They're playing WWE nonsense games over a disaster that really just happened. A real disaster that you saw with your own eyes. You saw the video. You saw what happened. That I'm okay with that. Let's talk about us and what we do and how we are as a people. Yes, please. Compare me to Republicans. Please, pretty please. And when I said I have disagreements with those guys, Clint Eastwood's not even voting Republican anymore. And Paul Newman was, that guy, to this day, he set up Newman's own. I still buy a salad dressing. I still buy Newman's own salad dressing because the guy, has set up a permanent donation to charity through his companies. And they did good things. John Wayne was a fiction. He was. And I really get mad at John Wayne because, like his stupid movie about the Alamo, people see movies and they think they're true. They take them as history. And what happened at the Alamo has nothing to do with what you saw in John Wayne's movie. It was just a good movie. That's it. It was fiction. Peter Campbell says, hate to be cynical. I can imagine that the Republican thugs will vacate the speaker so that no action can be taken. Actually, that's really, they don't have the votes, Peter. They just don't have the votes to do it. William Klopp says, I saw Republicans are saying Daniels and Cohen had an affair, and this is a scam between them, and what's going to happen? Oh, yeah. it's just muddy the water. Say stupid shit to muddy the water. That's it. I don't care. I don't care who Stormy, sounds like bullshit to me, but I don't care who she slept with. I don't. I do know that the payments are on record. There's documentation to show what the payments were for. And yeah, Trump's going to say anything he can to try to get out of this. He did it. This is an open and shut case. He did it. Jerry Johnson says these GOP Trumpublicans cult followers do not do anything to help people. They're just doing the will of their cult leader, Trump. Yeah, all of their politics. None of it's about getting anything done. None of it. None of it. It's always nonsensical WWE fake wrestling agitprop crap to distract people's attentions. There's an invasion. There's an invasion. It's crap. There's no invasion. There isn't. Sorry. But they do it so that they don't ever actually have to work. Because if they work, that costs money. And if that costs money, then, their billionaire patrons have to pay taxes. You know what they did here in Texas? You're going to love this. We have some of the highest taxes in the country here in Texas. We do. When you start adding up all the different taxes we pay, we don't have an income tax. But they've been like boiling, the old boil the frog thing. You put a frog in a pot and slowly turn up the water, or turn up the heat on the water. You can boil the frog. It'll never jump out of the pot. That's what they've been doing here with taxes here in Texas. And we have some of the highest taxes in the country. We really needed tax reform. So you know what they did? We had a budget surplus. What they did was they went and said, okay, the way we fund our schools is through our property taxes. They said, okay, I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take $18 billion of this budget surplus, and we're going to pay a portion of everybody's property taxes this year. So everybody's like, yay, yay, my taxes were cut in half. No, they weren't. No, they weren't. They just took your money, your budget surplus, and gave some of it back to you to pay your taxes that goes right back to them. And it's for 1 year, because next year there's no surplus to pay part of your taxes. So your taxes are still exactly right where they were. No tax reform, but they're running around screaming, oh, we reformed taxes. No, you didn't. Because next year there's no surplus for you to pay that portion. So my taxes go back to being exactly what they were, except the rich Republican patrons. Because part of this boondoggle, they slipped in there that if you own a shopping mall or an apartment building or anything, they can't raise the valuation on your property like they do my property and everybody else's property. They froze their valuations for 3 years and called it tax reform. I appreciate the support, Michael Andrews. I really do. I appreciate the support. Rosanna, appreciate your support. K. Jeff, I appreciate your support. K. Jeff, I appreciate your support. Thank you very much. And Evolution Wendy, Terry Frost suggests Texas Paul do a show from the border. We are doing a border show. We are doing. It just takes coordination. It takes plans. Look, folks, I'm gonna tell you, things keep happening. All right, I am a one-man show here. I am not a network. So when I do something like a show from the border, I have to plan it and make it happen. And things keep happening, like my dog died. Yesterday, we went down to Salado, met a lady that breeds mini schnauzers because we had a mini schnauzer that needed a friend. And, schnauzers, if you know anything about schnauzers, they do better in packs. They really do. They're pack dogs. And we had a single miniature schnauzer that was wonderful. Her name was Maddie. So I wanted to get her a sister. My wife didn't want another dog. So we went down and there's this lady that breeds miniature schnauzers and they're all laying there. These were black. Our other one was salt and pepper. These were black. And they're enjoying some sun. It was a cool day. They're all laying around enjoying. Thanks for the support, Katie. I really appreciate all your support. You've really, really done a lot for us this show. John Mooney, thank you for the support. $50 is a lot of money. I know that, folks. I'm very grateful. But we have 2 rescue dogs and 2 rescue cats. This dog we chose on our own. So, like I said, yesterday we went down to Salado and all the puppies were laying there not moving, just enjoying the sun on their black fur, except for one. One was sitting there looking at us. And you know how you got that thing on TikTok where it says, hello, good morning. That was it. One ear was sticking straight up. One ear was folded down. Remember, my wife is not there for this. She's going along for the ride. She was not looking for a dog. This puppy runs up to Mrs. Texas Paul and it's over. It's over. That's it. Of course, that wasn't yesterday. That was 16 years ago. And that was Zozo. Oh, man, that coffee's good. But she was a good dog. She was a good dog. So it was one thing after another keeps happening. Things like that that have prevented me from heading down to the border. We are going down to the border. This is an important story. We are going down there. We're making arrangements to make it happen. I want you to see that border. We're going to go across. We're going to head into Mexico. I want you to see the people of Mexico. I want you to see what's going on. I want you to see that Americans every day that live in across from these border towns go to Mexico. Hey, there's a good restaurant over there. Let's go over there. Every day they cross and go over. Every day Mexicans come across the border. Every day. It's just normal. It's just normal. There's no invasion. Drew P says, Dipshit Donnie should always be his nickname. It insults his precarious, quote, intelligence. Yeah. But yeah, things like that have been going on. I was scared to leave Zozo. Zoe was her name, a.k.a. Zozo the Bozo, Zoena Regina, Weena G, the Little Black Bullet, all her nicknames. She wasn't doing real well. We knew that she wasn't going to make it much longer. So I was scared to leave. That was just one of the things. I was scared to leave her in the care of my grandchild. But she passed. She has passed. And she was a great dog. All of our other animals chose us. We chose her. So, yeah, but we are definitely going down to the border, folks. Absolutely. Well, look, that's the show I have for you today. That's what I wanted to talk to you about. Please hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button. That helps us with the algorithm. Just by doing that one thing, we'll just like a shot set Google off. Google will turn around and recommend the show to other people. We'll get more people into the live chat, grow our Texas Paul Pothead community. More people who are like-minded, smart, intelligent, informed people in the chat, and that's what we want, folks. So do it. Reach down, hit the thumbs up button, and enjoy your weekend. Have a beautiful weekend. It is Friday. And thank you for the support, folks. It pays for all the subscriptions and the sources and all the information. Thank you very much, Jerry Johnson. I appreciate you. Enjoy some Texas cities at night.